Divine Spirit and gracious Creator, we are all here to open ourselves up unconditionally to your divine assistance and continued direction. As well as receiving your healing and guidance, we are fully open and ready to receive and notice signs and blessings. We are truly grateful and thank you. Amen.
Amen.
Please settle your minds and focus on your crown chakra. And when you are ready, open it for Spirit to supply you with its source of energy. As it enters your crown chakra, allow it to rebalance all your chakras, starting with the crown chakra, moving on to the brow chakra, down to the throat chakra, and then on to the heart chakra, working its way down to the solar plexus chakra and further down to the sacral chakra, and then down to the root chakra. Allow the spirit energy source to visit all your minor chakras to maximize our potential in this circle. Let the energy settle in your body, and when you are ready, move your focus back to your heart chakra and start linking with all other members of this circle unconditionally. Set your intentions on the task we agreed, please, to maximize our ability to make the links to spirit that we need to achieve. We have come together on the earth plane with the purpose of receiving answers to our questions from our spirit guides and advisors that are happy to link with us. I would like to start by introducing members of our circle tonight. My name is Neil, and with me today is Adrian, Ashley, Nikki, and Kevin. I would like to welcome all members of the Spirit Circle and thank you for believing in us. As we try to lift our energy levels sufficiently to enable you to bridge and make contact through our mediums, we are focusing on offering you the opportunity to link through us. Please link directly through your choice of medium. And if you are happy to link through another medium at the same time as another soul from Spirit does, please do so. Where possible, we would respectfully appreciate confirmation that we have achieved a successful link through either a sense of doing so or even more grateful to hear the spoken word itself. As we try to lift our energy levels in our own circle, and with the help of our own guides and others in spirit, we look forward to making the connection to the spirit circle. When we have achieved that, could you confirm when you are ready for Ashley to put questions to you, please?
I can hear the song. We are family. Can anybody else hear it? a mini act, really. You are almost there, just a few more moments for the connection to be fully made. A good evening to you all, and thank you for letting me to join your group tonight.
Good evening, thank you for joining us. What would you like to be known as this evening?
My name is Gerard.
What motivated you to make contact with us here and now?
I was invited to come along to your circle by your guides.
Oh, thank you for joining us. We're grateful to have you here.
No, thank you.
So we
Thank
have,
your guides.
yeah, we have, I don't know what you've been told about what happens here. We have a number of questions, can be completely random, and you can try and answer them, or you can put questions towards us.
No, I do not mind. I visit lots of circles.
Oh,
This is why I was invited.
you're the expert then, yeah?
I wouldn't say that, but I do oversee a few circles.
All right. Are you happy if I ask you a few questions?
Of course, if I can answer, I will.
Thank you. Okay, so if a soul decides to take a different path as a human, will that affect the time of it returning to spirit?
No, because the end path, even though you've changed the time that soul had chosen in the first instance, even though it has changed its path, will still come back within a similar given time. It will not be a massive difference. But as you live your lives anyway in the vessel, it is all excuse me, I'm just trying to settle within. So the time scale is always approximate, but as the path changes, things do happen in your lives. And some things happen that are not foreseen, as with your free will.
Is because you've been able to experience different circles. Is there a particular question that often comes up amongst circles?
Yes,
Would you be able to share that?
it's how there are so many questions that do repeat from different times and different languages, but they are always about the same, about how a soul can change its path, how a soul chooses its life. The list I could go on. But we like answering it because it helps teach and gives the answers that you are looking for.
Yeah. Right. Sorry.
I was just going to say, but it, as it is, we teach and it answers your questions. It never gets boring.
That's good to know. So for those souls who decide to return to spirit early, like for example through suicide, do they get help and then return to earth to continue their journey?
For those of those, yes, they do get help because their life, their lesson maybe have become shorter than they thought. They do return, but it might not be as they planned. Sometimes you can plan maybe more than the one life that you're going to go into. You might, as a older soul that's been on lived for, for those that have lived more than one life, those that have lived numerous lives, sometimes will plan two. But if something happens in one of them, they might go back up into with their guides and talk about what happened. So it might change if they want to come back or the type of lesson that would be needed afterwards.
What about, yeah, sorry.
I was going to say, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. What about, like, some people claim to have like near-death experiences? Like, is that something that's real?
A soul would never choose this. This is the human. All souls would never choose to have a near-death experience, because most souls have experienced this numerous times.
But then some people who've had the near-death experiences, they don't necessarily look at it as a negative.
No, it is not a negative, but as a soul, it is not part of your journey or your lesson.
Okay.
For that human.
Why does it happen then? If it's, you know, if it's not like a soul's choice, it's like something that happens to the human.
Sometimes with a near-death experience, there is that moment where they have the option to go or to stay. And it is in that brief moment, or earth years, time, I should say, that is a blink of an eye, but that they have in front of them the choice. But where possible, they are urged to stay, to live out that life.
Okay. What happens with an out-of-body experience?
You float. Evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hello. What's your name, or what can we call you this evening?
As you should know my name by now.
I'm not going to say it. Ethos?
Yes, that's right, Ethos. Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Yes, yes. How are we both? Are we good?
Oh, good, thank you. Thank you for
We're
joining
all
us.
good, thank you.
Fabulous. We float. We float. We come out of the body and we float. We go to different places. We see many things.
Could that be described as similar to like the astral different astral projection, or is that something entirely different? Would you say?
No, that's about right. That's yes, that's about right. Yes.
Yes, it'd be the same.
What speeds up the process of having an out of body experience? Like, if somebody wanted to do it, what helps?
Relaxation. The intent.
Meditation.
Yes, meditation.
Relax. Don't be scared.
What about like some people take different herbs and stuff? Like some people take like this thing called rapping.
Say that again.
I was gonna say, it's like some people take like I'd say like drugs, but like they claim it to be like natural drugs, like rappy, and then there's another one. It's one in South America. Begins with A, I think. Neil.
Well, we have not taken drugs. Come here tonight.
Okay. All right. Moving on then. What is the purpose of war?
There is no purpose. But as much as it has a very negative impact, there are certain things that do come out of it for your evolution. The way of your life always changes after a war.
Mm.
There isn't a purpose. It is a progression that accelerates things that are already in motion.
Do you think that there will ever be a time when humans get on together then?
In those whistle winking.
Do families ever get on fully?
Yeah.
As much as we are all one big family, not everybody sees eye to eye,
It's true.
especially on the earth plane.
Now, this is a peculiar question. Don't ask me where it comes from. Is the moon a spaceship?
No.
No.
Planet.
Simple answer, no. Well, that clears that one up. Thank you. What causes a death crown in feather pillows when a loved one passes?
Are you underwater tonight? Because I can't really hear you very well.
Oh. Let me take out my headphones, see if that makes a difference. Can you hear me better like this?
Yes. Yes, yes. Very, very good. Yes, yes, yes. Better.
All right. So, what causes a death crown in feather pillows when a loved one passes?
This is the energy that is used in transition. There is an awful lot of energy at those final moments. So the energy heats and is left as an outline.
So, Christmas comes but once a year here on the earth plane. Positively and negatively, some say here, but what spirits view on Christmas? What is the meaning of Christmas to you guys?
Trying to think on that one. I try and be with my family. But sometimes that's very difficult.
It all depends on your religion, because Christmas has different meanings for different
Yeah.
religions. Up in spirit, when you've lived many lives, you've also had many religions and beliefs.
Mm.
So looking down on it, Christmas can be a happy time. But as you said, can be a sad time.
Mm.
But it is a time marker. As you live on the earth, up in spirit, there is no time. You just live your lives. If you pop down to see your loved ones or to learn your lessons when you're not in a life, you might look in and see. But it depends where you go. Each religion or culture will have its own holiday. So they have their happy times as well. So in spirit, it doesn't have such a meaningful
Mm.
meaning, I should say, as you would think.
Are there any celebrations that you have in spirit? Any occasions or anything?
No, not in a sense. We've been around too long and seen lots of things. You do not need to celebrate in that meaning. As you go through in spirit, you'll find joy and happiness most of the time. You do not need to look for any celebration. Celebration sometimes is meeting that somebody you haven't spoken to for a long time or connected with. That is a celebration as well.
Yeah. How many times, Gerard, have you been to the Earth plane?
Let's just say I've been lots of times and I still haven't finished my journey. So to return, I will at some point.
What makes your journey incomplete that you need to return again? Are you able to share?
There are some things that I have not come to learn properly yet. But this is of my own choice, my perfection that I would like to learn.
Mm. What would be one of the most key things that you've learned so far?
To be yourself. Do not be what other people want you to be. Be who you are. It doesn't matter what others think. Those that are like you, you'll be attracted to each other. You will not judge or look unkindly on one another. You will just meet people. Sometimes you might feel alone because you might think in your human life you haven't got many friends. But if you look deep and close, you will find there'll be just a few people, even maybe 1 or 2 friends. But you know that's all you need.
Mm. Yeah.
You do not need to be part of a crowd. You would that when you are in groups or you try to be part of the crowd. And trust me, I've tried this over many lives. It is not good. There's lots of judgment.
Mm.
It is easier to be you. Sometimes this does isolate you, depending in your setting. But you are never alone.
And what about you, Ethos? What would you say is one of the most important lessons that you've learned?
To be yourself. Always be yourself, your true self. Speak your truth.
Yeah.
On the same lines, I suppose, really. Yes.
Right, I'm going to pass you over to Neil.
Hello, everyone.
Good
Evening, Neil. Here comes for the complicated ones now.
Oh, here we go then. What is the single biggest issue of concern in spirit surrounding our life on earth at the moment?
There is too much time worrying about other things, other people, which causes conflict and upset. Need to look within.
So in a way, that's you're saying we've got to set our own boundaries as well. Is that right?
Yes. Busybodies, as you would say. Too many busybodies.
Mm.
People just need to look within themselves. There needs to be more common sense. People try to make things too complicated. Need to simplify things for what they are.
I can endorse that because years ago we used to teach common sense by living in a different way.
Life has become too fast-paced for you.
Did you mean me or all of us generally?
All of you generally. There are always trials through lives, through the centuries. This always changes. People have lost sight of the true meaning of life. Happiness, enjoyment, fulfillment is what's needed.
How do we get back on track?
It just needs to start with one who spreads the word. There are quite a few out there now within these circles that we travel to, and we try to pass on our advice of words. So, who maybe you speak to about this evening's questions and answers? That discussion will then maybe move to another person, and somewhere somebody will take that advice and start to do that, and then it will just move on like a drop in water. It will ripple.
In fairness, that's one of our objectives, because we do share, what we hear and what we record, what we write down. We just hope that it awakens some others to pass it on. And in a positive way, it seems to work.
There are a lot more over these last few decades of your earth lives that are moving into spiritualism and believing in the afterlife, as you would call it. So as I move from circle to circle, there are now more circles than there have ever been, which is good. I can see that more people meditate as well.
I mean, we have seen the evidence of that by the interest of people coming forward. And in my lifetime, when I was a teenager, a lot of people my age at the time were not interested, but they're all waking up now.
Yes, this is a good thing.
I think so too.
Ethos is very quiet tonight.
Yes, he is.
I am just listening. Yes.
Okay. Let me ask another question, please. We understand time doesn't exist in spirit. So does everything that takes place there happen simultaneously?
It doesn't happen simultaneously. It just happens. There's just no measurement of time. Does no need to be. It would probably happen in an order, but not in a time.
Okay. Can souls be in more than one place at a time?
Yes, we can. Part of you also stays in spirit, even when you are in your life on earth or other places.
Does that give us a coordinate so we know where to come back to when we transit back to spirit?
You could call it like that.
Mm.
A coordinate. Yes, I like how you've worded that. That is a good way of saying it.
So does that suggest that we have to leave a little piece of our energy back in spirit without taking all our energy for our life on the earth plane?
Yes.
Okay.
This is what happens. Some of the, what you would say is more experienced soul,
Yep.
can say I also live more than one life at a time. If they wish. I have never choose to do so.
Why would the soul choose to do that?
They are more the higher advanced souls that will do this.
Okay.
Those that are close to being elders.
They're our teachers.
Okay.
They help us to get to where we are now. Yes.
That seems to be a continual process as it is on the earth.
We're all learning on earth as well as we're up here as well. Yes, yes.
Mm.
We're all learning.
Okay.
You never stop learning, Neil.
No, I do realize that because when my grandchildren can teach me things that I hadn't actually given thought to, that's another way of learning. It's amazing.
Knowledge is a good thing when you have it.
Okay. How long ago was it in Earth years when you were last incarnated onto the Earth plane? And what experience did you like best at the time? I know
Who's
I've
that
asked
one
you.
too? We've had this conversation, haven't we, Nick?
You and
Yes,
I
yes.
have, yeah,
Yes,
ethos,
yes,
we have, yeah.
yes. Yeah.
So it's to Adrian. To Gerard, sorry.
If I was to say to you the 1700s was then the last time I lived a life on your planet.
What country was that in?
You would know it as Saudi Arabia. Very hot. Very dry. We had a big family. I was one of 7.
Well, what did you do there, Joe? What was your main?
My job was a camel herder. I looked after the animals.
Generally, would you say that life has improved in Saudi Arabia since that time for most people? I know it has for the ruling elite through wealth, but what about, the, as I call it, the common man?
I have seen some advancement, but not like other cultures. It is very much the same.
Yeah.
What about the camels that you looked after? Did they have one hump or two humps?
Depends how angry they were.
I like that answer. I really like that answer.
I want to say, was he called Humphrey as well?
Oh, don't give
I'm
up
so
your,
sorry. So
don't
sorry.
give up your day jobs, Ethos. Don't give up your day job.
That is funny.
Well, we was all having a dig, so I just I joined in. Yes, I
Oh,
did.
dear. Okay. But Gerard, what experience did you like best at the time when you were living in the 1700s?
Life was hard, but you always had time for your family. Being with my family is the most important thing I enjoyed. Eating together, talking, being with one another. Teaching my siblings and my children.
With you guys, like you tend to know like how many lifetimes like you've had here on the earth plane and what kind of lives that you've had, but us here as humans, we don't all individually know that. Like when we go back to spirit, do we then get told, or like do we then have this knowing that okay, well, you've actually been on the earth plane X amount of times and these are the lives you've had, you know?
Let's say with me, it's like a history lesson. We we do get told quite a bit about our past
Yeah.
and how we come back. Yes.
Are there ways on the earth plane that we can find out? Like, would you call that like past life regression and stuff?
If yeah, that's what we just yeah.
The easiest way is you'll be attracted to certain places. You'll have interests, but you do not know why.
Hmm.
That is
And
the advice I can give.
And objects are too, as well. Planes and trains, but again, not realizing why.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hmm.
Gerard, can I ask you, when you are back home in spirit, the reason I say Gerard, because I've already asked Ethos this, what do you enjoy doing most in spirit when you're in spirit?
Mm. I enjoy connecting. connecting with all the other souls, gaining knowledge, especially those that have just come back into the family groups.
Sure.
Okay, thank you for that.
Can I ask a random question now?
Mm.
What is the purpose of like slugs? Like, why are they here? Like,
Everything has a purpose.
yeah, but I don't know, everyone has different views, but when I look at them, I just think like, I just feel like they're dark. Like, I don't know what the positive slugs are. They just create slime and they're just yuck.
They help decompose the leaves, the twigs, the fruits, vegetables. They recycle.
But slugs are actually a food chain as well.
I was about to say that. They're poor little things. They do all that hard work.
Yeah, but they also ruin people's crops though, don't they? And vegetation.
But you can say that about man as well.
That's true.
He'll munch for a field just as much as a slug will.
Or a worm.
Yeah.
They're all in on a food chain. Yes, they are. Yes.
Is it okay to carry on?
Of course.
Okay. I didn't know if the energy is dropping, but is there tough love in spirit? We know humans apply it sometimes, but what happens in spirit? Do you ever have to put your foot down or cause other spirits into line?
I think that one's for you, Gerard. You're more experienced than I am on that one.
You play yourself down, ethos.
Mm.
It's a good trick, I think, of ethoses.
Yes.
There is tough love. There's tough love everywhere. And yes, people do have to put their foot down sometimes.
Guidance. Tough love is just guidance. It's just a different way of saying it.
Yeah. On the earth plane, that's really the driving force, isn't it? Or should be. Apart from any human soul that wants to dominate the situation.
It's just another way of you guiding somebody else.
Yeah. Okay.
It is still love, but
Yeah.
just in a different meaning.
What about, how do both of you feel about like, does manifestation actually work, or is any apparent success coincidental? Right. Is manifestation real? If it is that, what does that even mean? Is it about the intent, or can manifestation only work when you've got certain blockages cleared? Like, what's your view on manifestation?
Ethos would be mostly positive.
I don't have a view on things like that. I just plod along.
There is a lot of advice on manifestation, but it is all about headspace, how you think. Obviously, if you're feeling low, it's just low thoughts. You tell yourself you can't do these things or you haven't got it in you. But if you change that thought to more positive, then the positive will happen. You will feel more energized, more confident. So
Yes.
manifestation is yes in a way.
But not necessarily for material benefit, presumably.
No, but if you was to work towards that,
Yep.
it is not given. It is you actually working towards it.
Yeah.
It's your positive thinking.
Okay. What's the best Christmas present that a human soul can give themselves, in your opinion?
Love.
Exactly that.
Self-belief.
Happiness.
Right. How do we survive a tragedy or cope with a dark period in our life? What advice would you give?
It's all about time. Can't rush things. No, you can't. You're going to have there'll be good days and there'll be bad days as well. On those good days, you just have to take them and just keep them in your thoughts. Bad days, you just have to ride the storms. But there's always life at the end of the tunnel. It eases with time. You never forget that person, but it's you learn to cope, but you never forget. You learn to know how to cope with the feelings and the heartbreak and the separation.
Time is a great healer on earth. But also, if you're feeling sad, angry, happy, don't hold it in. Just go with that feeling at that time.
Just don't lash out on others, though. Manage that emotion.
You can. Sometimes you can't help yourself. We always a true saying. I say, always. You always hurt the ones you love. That's one thing I did learn when I was down there on the earth plane. Yes, I did. But it does take time. There's no time limit on these things. But as time goes on, you learn.
But then they say as well, like, yeah, one of the things, like, yeah, time is the greatest healer, but they also say that if you don't do the inner work, then it just carries on. There's so many different views, isn't there?
There's this positive. I always say positivity is a real good one. You know, you have to live your life. You really do. Just because that person has gone, it doesn't mean that they're here waiting, looking at you, and they want you to see that, want to see you're doing well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Check yourself several times in a day, just for a few seconds. Stop what you're doing, or when you're finished doing something, just stand up straight or sit up straight, take a breath, and just see how you're feeling at that point. Just breathe in Do that through the day, every day, to see how you're feeling. And then ask yourself, why am I feeling like this? Whether that's happy. Is it because it's something you've just done, something you're about to do? Same if you're feeling sad or angry. What has just made you feel like that? And take a deep breath. Let the breath go and carry on.
Okay, change our tact on the questions at the minute. As scientists here get to grip with quantum physics, are we going to see a massive advance in applying what is discovered? And will it help all of society?
The simple answer to that would be yes. As this is your advancement. But there will be certain negatives that will go with this. But the positives will outweigh.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry. I do have to. I'm starting to drop a little bit.
Okay, thank you, Ethos. Anyway, nice that you
I
came back again.
yes. Thank you for having me again. Thank you. I must go. Take care.
Take care.
And yeah,
Gerard, have you got any questions for us, like joining our circle this evening?
Questions? No, I do not have any questions. But I do admire the way that I have watched your circle. The way you blend when you have different members from week to week. That the purest is still within your circle. I thank you for letting me join you this evening.
Thank you. And thank you for all your advice and your sharing your knowledge and your wisdom.
Thank you very much for letting me join you.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay,
it's our
good
privilege.
evening.
Thank you. Time for us now to finish today's question and answer session. We would like to thank Spirit for being here to guide us and working directly with us. That includes our personal guides for their ongoing support and the additional advisors that have joined us here today to give us the benefit of their wisdom. Thank you for your continued support, which we all fully appreciate and value. And we look forward to linking up again with you next time. Before we close the link, we hope you don't mind us spending a few minutes of our time exploring our personal direct links with Spirit. 2 to 3 minutes until I call you back into the room, everyone. time now to refocus on your crown chakras, please. And as and when you have, close it down to break your link with spirit. Move any residual energy you don't need down from your crown chakra, down to your brown chakra, onto your throat chakra, carrying onto your heart chakra, and further down to your solar plexus chakra, onto your sacral chakra, and then to your root chakra. Allow this surplus energy to move down through your legs and body to your feet and ground yourself on Mother Earth, please. When you are sufficiently grounded and in your own time, gently and slowly bring your attention back into the room.